Hey, everybody, welcome to Let's Just Say's Halloween Show Spooktacular. Are you ready to rock and roll, baby? I am. I'm your host, Alex Ketchum. And tonight we have a lot of great storytellers for you that are going to get you hopefully in the Halloween spirit. First up, to my left, my better half, Amber Colson will be telling the story tonight. We also are joined by the, excellent writer and fellow teammate from the Digibits contest, James B. Higdon, and we have the funny improviser and her husband, Amanda and John Wateed. Hey, guys. Hi.
What's up, gang?
Oh, hey.
Thank you all so much for doing this. This is my favorite time of the year, as you can tell. I love an excuse to wear a costume. And thank you all for getting in the spirit, Amanda and John. Thank you very much. So tonight's show, I'd like to do a little traditional thing where the host tells a really quick story to kind of get us started, break the ice, if you will. So cheers to this. Here's my story about a ghost that we think we lived with for a little while. When I was in college, we had an apartment, me and my buddy Logan, who talked like this. He said, you want to live together? And I said, sure, man. And we got this apartment in the old part of Knoxville that was remade. It was really cool looking, had like brick walls and things. And according to the owner, it used to be like a brothel way back when. And you would come into the apartment and it'd be a huge open dining room, living room area. And then there was just a long single light bulb, normally dark hallway. And it just creeped us both out. And we're both grown ass men. We were like, I guess 21, 22 at the time. But both of us were always kind of creeped out by that hallway. I don't know why really, but there was one night where I was trying to go to sleep and I felt somebody walk in the room. You know how the pressure changes when somebody comes into a room, you know? You can just kind of feel it. And then I felt someone kind of sit on the bed beside me. And I'm sitting there lying with my eyes closed. And I was like, Logan's trying to fuck with me right now. He's going to cat face me or do something. So I just like go from laying on my stomach to like turning and swinging, like just to try and like hit him and like, get the jump on him. And there's nobody there. So I just flip head over heels out of the bed and into the floor. And that was like the first incident in that apartment. And then another night I woke up from a deep sleep to what felt like somebody pushing me in the back, like into the bed. And I remember waking up and that being like pushed like down into the bed like 3 or 4 times, like someone's trying to wake you up or get you out of the bed, you know? And I was just like, what the heck is going on? But I didn't say anything. And one night Logan and I are sitting there drinking and he says, hey, got a weird question. You ever had somebody come in and push you while you were asleep? I said, what? And he's like, and I was, he the same thing had happened to him. He had been woken up one morning or early morning to nothing pushing him in the back to wake him up. So we kind of decided that maybe it was the old brothel workers trying to clear us out of the bed so they could have their next customer come in, maybe. Not real sure, but it happened to both of us. And that was a creepy apartment that we moved out of after year 1. And neither one of us was sad about that. So that is my quick ghost story to get us started. And to follow up with that, the lovely Amber Colson is going to share a story with us. So please give it up for Amber Colson.
Well, hi, everyone. So I come from a line of women, my mom, my grandma, who all believe that they've had experiences with ghosts. And for a long time, I wasn't sure if I had inherited that same trait, but, well, you'll see. My story starts a handful of years ago before I was with the amazing Alex Ketchum. I was dating a man named Andrew, and in his early 30s, he was diagnosed with stage 4 bile duct cancer and became pretty sick pretty quickly. As time went on, we decided we were going to get married. And as you might imagine, when you're in your early 30s, somebody's got really bad cancer, money is pretty tight. So we decided when a local jewelry store was running a contest, like a social media contest for people who were getting married to help them cover wedding expenses, we thought, fantastic. We're going to play up the Cancer angle. We'll get some sympathy votes, and for sure we will win this contest. It was pretty simple. Essentially, you had to put a picture on social media, and then people liked it. And whoever had the most likes won gift certificates to the jewelry store for, wedding rings, that kind of thing, and then gift certificates from other local vendors for your cake and whatever the case may be. So the contest takes place. I'm super bitter to this day because we took second. I mean, how do you vote against the Cancer couple? But people did. We took second place, and we still got some really nice prizes. So with those prizes, we got a bottle of wine that had a custom label on it. There was a picture of the two of us from an event we had gone to, and it was the photo that people had voted on social media. So really cute bottle. We put it in this special spot on the wine rack and think, all right, we're going to have this at some happier time, some special occasion. Andrew gets better for a little bit, then his cancer comes back with a vengeance, and unfortunately it gets to the point where he is in hospice care. And so we had joked a little bit about that bottle that was on the wine rack, and we had said, we really should drink that. We should, enjoy this good red wine. But he had bile duct cancer. And if you're not familiar with your bile duct, it's a part of your liver. And when you're basically in liver failure, they don't tend to recommend that you drink a whole lot. So the bottle stayed on the wine rack. Fast forward a little bit, Andrew ends up passing away. And I'm Jewish, and in our tradition, we do something called sitting Shiva. And for those of you who are not familiar, when you sit Shiva, it's sort of like a wake, and everybody comes back to someone's house. You tell stories about the deceased, there's food, all of that. Now, normally, the person who is hosting Shiva, you don't worry about cleaning your house, but it's me. And as Alex will tell you, I get a little obsessive compulsive about the house being clean and tidy. And so even on that day, it's an hour or two before people are supposed to come over, and I'm frantically cleaning. We were going to hold everything in the basement because my house was fairly small at the time, and that was sort of the biggest open area where people could meet. I'm downstairs, I'm cleaning in one corner of the basement. My mom is upstairs cleaning in the kitchen. None of the cats or dogs were anywhere nearby. And all of a sudden I hear this crack. And I turn and look over at the wine rack, which again is on the other side of that room. And that bottle, which had been sitting on the top of the wine rack, had fallen off, hit my carpeted floor, shattered, and red wine is now everywhere. So red wine's all over the carpet. It's all over the white paneling on the wall. Of course, I'm hysterical. Not only am I upset about my husband passing away, but my house is even worse of a mess, and I've got to figure out what to do with this. My mom comes downstairs. If you ever have a red wine spill, OxyClean's the answer. We get it cleaned up. You can't tell that a thing is there. Looks perfectly clean, like nothing ever happened on our, light colored carpeting. Time goes by, a couple of years go by, and it's about a year ago now, and it comes time for me to move to Ferndale with Mr. Kiss over here. And it's my last night in this house. And I'm doing my final last bit of cleaning. It's that last moment where you're getting the garbage can and the cat litter box and the random broom, and throwing that in your car because I was closing on the house in the morning. So again, I'm downstairs in the basement, in a corner of the basement, picking up some random tools and things. And I hear another sound come from a corner of the basement. It's not a smack this time. It's more of a sigh, just this breath, if you will. And I look over to where the wine rack used to be. It's now gone because all that's packed. My wine's all, safely in my new home. And where that wine rack was, there's now once again a huge red wine stain. I didn't know what to do. I was already emotional. I was already a little bit on the verge with everything going on. So I flick off the lights, run up the stairs, and get the hell out of that house. That was my last time ever in that house. My favorite part of the story, though, was the next day we're at the closing, and the young man who was buying his house was there with his real estate agent, and they had done a final walkthrough. And the very first thing they said to me was, "My God, your house was so clean. It looked like there had never been anybody in that basement. The carpet was pristine." So I will let you figure out what happened. To this day, I don't know. I just drink a lot of red wine.
Hey, David.
and we go from there. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Whew. Never knew wine could be so scary. I mean, it's creepy. Right?
It was creepy.
Well, all right. Thank you, baby doll. And up next, my good friend James is going to be sharing a special Halloween story with us. James, the floor is yours.
All right, cool. Thanks for the introduction. I don't have a similarly emotional or paranormal story. Honestly, when Alex reached out to me, asked if I had any good Halloween stories to say, I struggle to think of anything. Because what I've discovered in reflecting for this is I haven't really done Halloween right most of my life. I tend to forget it's going to be Halloween. And then right about now-ish, I remember it's Halloween, panic plan for Halloween, and have Halloween happen. And that's just kind of what's happened for most of my life. One, because I was a cross-country runner in high school. So the weekend of Halloween, I was always running. Then I got really into college football and was a cheerleader at my college. So I was busy doing game days on Saturdays there. So I never went to Halloween parties. And I've been a teacher and a coach ever since. So my October, especially where I teach and coach cross country, and it's the start of the fall season, is just no go for me to be able to plan Halloween stuff. So with that being said, I always do scramble and try to make something happen. So this particular story comes from my first Halloween as a teacher, where I went to a Halloween party and had a magical encounter with another human being. Not what you guys think. Let me explain. So I fell into my job teaching. I didn't really ever plan on being a teacher. I wound up teaching at my old high school. So my first year, I kind of showed up in the fall and didn't really know what I was doing. I was subbing. And I, happened upon this cross-country coaching gig, and I was a lot more busy than expected. So it was probably around right now-ish, it's the 28th, 29th of October. I realized it's Halloween that weekend. I need to do something. I need to get out of the house. I'm living in my uncle's basement, which is less than ideal for a 24-year-old to be, celebrating Halloween. So I called a friend of mine who was doing a couple victory laps in college at U of M. Getting his master's, and I was like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, you got to come up. We'll do Halloween right. I'm like, sweet, perfect. So I needed to figure out a costume. So I'm just sitting in my teenage bedroom, and I look across the floor and I see a Wayne's World hat because I'd been Wayne for Halloween 6 years before. So I'm like, all right, I'll be Wayne from Wayne's World, black t-shirt, put on the hat, put on the wig, easy, simple costume, throw it in the backpack, go to work, drive Ann Arbor after work. But it was just me as Wayne. So I caught flack all night because I was just Wayne, no Garth. I'm going out with a few couples who have all these different planned costumes, and there's groups of dudes who are doing a 3-person thing, or Power Rangers or whatever. And I'm just Wayne walking around, which is kind of just been my MO for the past few years. And so we go to this party, this college party, which I just had no business being at, being a 24-year-old new educator. And it's very crowded and very packed. And I'm walking around as this Wayne without a Garth, and I lose my friends. So here I am at this house party. There's a band playing. I think I just got lost in the mosh. I don't know. I just know that I had to go to the bathroom. Didn't know where the bathroom was in this place. Found myself outside. Turns out most people are just using the bathroom outside against a fence anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, when in Rome. So I walk up and as I am using this makeshift bathroom, I hear someone yell, Wayne, behind me. And I'm like, what's going on? So I finished, we're good. And I turn around, and there's a man dressed as Garth standing across this backyard from me screaming, Wayne, Wayne. And I go, oh my goodness, Garth. And we are running towards each other, screaming Wayne and Garth to each other, and meet in a magical embrace in the middle of this yard. And we're just I'm so happy I found you. This is so nice. Oh my gosh, I've been looking everywhere for you. And we have this nice little exchange, and he turns and walks away, and I turn and I look back, and I have no idea where Garth is. And I go back into the house and find my friends. I'm like, guys, I found a Garth. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I'm Wayne. I found a Garth. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. Go back outside with them to try to find Garth. And there's no Garth to be found. And I never saw this. I don't know who this man was. I'm assuming he was real. I don't know if he had an original Wayne, what happened to his original Wayne. But I know that in this brief moment in the backyard of a house party in Ann Arbor in the year 2014, a Wayne found his Garth. And if that doesn't make you believe in Halloween magic, I really don't know what does.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Oh my God, that was thank you, James. I hope that guy was just like, once he got up to you, he just played it off, but it was like, this isn't who I thought. This isn't Bill. Where's Bill?
Oh, I hope you watch it right now.
Yes, to this day, that guy is still looking for you.
Oh man. Okay. Up next, we have the wonderful couple. First off, the husband, John Wateed, is going to share a story with us, and then he will be followed by his lovely wife, Amanda, who is part of the Human Error team, which is the current Digibits champions, if I am correct. So congratulations, Amanda.
Thank you.
So my story begins at a New Year's Eve party where we were all sitting around playing cards, poker actually, and as we're starting a game, the like a chest in the corner filled with crystal, a piece of crystal comes out and just slams on the table, and we look at the closest person to it and say, "Hey, Angelo, why'd you do that? What, come on." He's like, "I didn't do it, I swear." And he kept saying it and kept saying it, and the homeowner finally said, "Hey guys, listen, there's been some things that have been happening around the house. And then he goes into this story where the first instance was his wife was at home doing laundry and picking up the clothes around the house and walks into the laundry room, and there's a man there. And he's taking his clothes from the hamper to the washing machine. And he's standing there, and she's, for a second, didn't really think anything of it. She's like, there's no one in the house. And then she looks again, and she can see right through the man. And the man just turns around, walks at her, and just walks by her and doesn't even know that she's there. So he's like, this is what my wife was telling me when I came home one day. And he's like, okay, I didn't really believe her. And then about maybe a week after that, him and his wife put the kids to bed. And maybe about 15, 20 minutes later, a quarter comes flying down the hallway. And they have 3 kids. So he just yells, "Come on, kids, stop joking around. Time to go to bed." And as he's saying that, he's walking over to the quarter. And he tries to pick the quarter up, and he can't. His fingers are going right through the quarter. He tries again, and his fingers just keep going through the quarter. Now he's more believing of what his wife had told him, a couple weeks prior. And then the New Year's Eve thing happens, and he's, goes on. And maybe about a week or two after that, they put the kids down again, and they sit down and they're relaxing. And the wife goes in and checks on the kids, and she goes into the first bedroom, everything's fine. Goes into the second kid's bedroom, everything's fine. And then he goes into the oldest kid's bedroom, and that same man is now standing at the end of the bed looking over the child. So she comes running out, yelling to the husband, "We got to do something. We got to do something. He's standing over the kids right now." So at that time, they called a priest in to bless the house and do all this stuff, and they never ever saw the guy again. He disappeared. And that is my Halloween story.
I would move out. So.
Yeah, if I saw random people in my house, nope. Like when we moved into this house, like I got here like 2 nights before Amber, and my shower speaker, like the little plug on the wall shower speakers, Bluetooth things. I was laying in like on the mattress in one of the bedrooms, and all of a sudden my speaker started making this weird, like, I don't know, something from like The Grudge, that little sound.
Yeah. No.
And I went in there and like I checked it, and it's not turned on. It's not hooked up to my phone or anything. I turn it on and turn it off again just to make sure, and set it down and start leaving the room. Starts doing the same thing again. And I just said nope. Picked it up, threw it in the trash can, took out the trash, threw that away, and just walked back in the house. Take
care of that problem.
Now you just have to worry about that red wine stain coming to this house.
Stop. No.
Dude, if I see a red wine stain in the basement and it's not like, I mean, that's very likely to happen because there's a lot of wine down there.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Amanda?
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So, when you first asked me what, to do this, I had like 3 stories come to mind. So one was basically me being in the movie Scream. That was terrifying. Another one is kind of like the story John told in our current house with our kid. But I decided to go with a funny story. So in our neighborhood, we have like thousands of kids that come into our neighborhood, and we usually go through like 3,000 pieces of candy.
4,000 last.
4,000 last year. So there's tons of kids, like they're running up and down. Like our street is basically like a parking lot. You can't get anywhere, whatever. So this was like 2 years ago. Our kid was 3 at the time. This was the first time he was like excited about Halloween, kind of understood what it was. So we both wanted to go trick-or-treating with him. And we had a party to go afterwards. So we decided to have our babysitter come early so she could stay at the house and hand candy out while we went trick-or-treating. And then when we got back, put him to bed, blah, blah, blah. Well, so we're out trick-or-treating. Henry doesn't make it very far. He's 3. And we get home, and the babysitter's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you love the bowl. I'm like, what are you talking about? My bowl. So I got that bowl at my wedding. It's like the most used thing in our household, right? Well, the candy's in it. She's out handing candy out, and she's like, I have to pee. So she leaves the bowl out on the porch with candy in it and goes to the bathroom. Comes back, 3-4 minutes later, and the bowl is gone. Duh. So I'm like, how long ago was it? And she's like, I don't know, like 10 minutes. I'm like, hold my shit. So I'm running up and down our street, zigzagging from house to house to house to house, looking for this bowl, right? Because I know he has the bowl. Running. Finally, I get to like about 10 houses down, and I see this kid. And there's tons of people everywhere. He's like 15. He's got my bowl in tow. And I'm like, how do I go about this? I want my bowl. So I like tap him on the shoulder, and I'm like, hey, like that's my bowl. You can keep the candy. Just give me my bowl back. And he's like, okay, I didn't steal your bowl, lady. And I'm like, okay. So then I start like pleading with him like this little weak cow. Like, please, I just love the bowl. Just please give me the bowl back. And his friends now are like starting to pay attention. They're like 15, 16. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. And they're like, he's like, no, I didn't steal the bowl. And so they like basically make him give me back the bowl. So I'm like, thank you. You can keep the candy, whatever. So I start walking away, and he's like, here, take your bowl, bitch. And I was like, okay, that's where I'm going to draw the line. So then I start just laying into him about how he needs to be a role model for all the kids around him. And this type of behavior is not going to like do him well in the real world. And he should be ashamed of himself. And da-da-da-da. And as I'm walking away, and I was like, and you know what? I still haven't decided if I'm going to call your mother. Watch it. And as I'm walking away, I'm like, I don't know his mom. No, I don't. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is when I knew I was meant to be a mom. So happy Mother's Day. Happy Halloween, everyone. I got my
Amazing. That's the first story of bowl shaming I've ever heard.
right?
I would love to walk into your neighborhood and just catch you cutting the promo on some random 15-year-old, Amanda. That would make my week. Guys, I just really want to thank you for sharing the stories tonight. I hope everybody
Did we forget?
catching a bit more. This is honestly my favorite episode. Let's just say we do one every month, but the Halloween is the #1 holiday of the year. That's not arguable. It's fact. Just happens to also be my opinion. But this is one of my favorite shows, and I really appreciate you guys stepping up and helping us out with some great stories. James, Amanda, John, Amber, thank you guys so much, and thank you to producer Pete, the voodoo producer with the cursed mask.
Hi, Pete.
Thank you guys so much for having us. This
Yes,
is super
thank you.
fun.
Well, you guys are always welcome back to tell another story, because next month's topic is going to be on the road.
Ooh.
And I know it's got a good road trip story or travel story or two. And if you're interested to tell a story, please message us on Facebook on the Let's Just Say page, or you can hit us up at letsjustsay@gocomedy.net. And speaking of Go Comedy, if you enjoy Go Comedy's #1 true story spoken word show, Let's Just Say. Yeah, it's #1, baby. Please look at gocomedy.net. You can buy some gift certificates for when the pandemic is over and it's open again. You can buy improv class tickets, and they also have some virtual improv, I guess classes that they're doing as well that you can take during the pandemic. You can also just buy bar coupons and things. So please support your local theaters, support Go Comedy. And until next time, guys, happy Halloween and rock and roll, baby! Yeah!